Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery, and visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Today we have got a 6-year review on this Cabela's Carnivore one-horse number 22 meat grinder. So I picked this up, like I said, about 6 years ago, and it has been a pretty awesome grinder. And so I decided, you see an awful lot of unboxings, you see an awful lot of, reviews when somebody opens up the box and they take it out and they use it once and they call it good, which is what I did the last time, right? I might have had, I don't know, an antelope or a deer through mine when I actually did the review. But now I've had 6 years, 6 hunting seasons with this grinder, and it's gone through, I would guess, probably 2 steers, 6 years, so that'd be probably 12 antelope, 12 deer, and maybe an elk or two. Then there was a time I was bartering knives for pigs and sheep with that other rancher friend of mine, so I might have 2 pigs and maybe a half a dozen lambs through this thing too. So I mean, I've used it enough now to really have some good, strong opinions on it. That anybody that's looking for one of these grinders or one of these grinders in this class from Cabela's might enjoy. So, like I said, this is the Carnivore one-horse number 22 grinder from Cabela's. Now granted, it's about 6 years old, so they've probably made some modifications and some upgrades to the latest and greatest model, but I looked on their website right before I turned the camera on, and they're still selling virtually the same grinder for $550 if I remember right. That's for the one-horse grinder with number 22 grinder head on it. The step below that, which is the smallest one they make, is a 3/4 horse, and it's like a number 12 grinder. You guys hear that popping sound? I got some mule deer. I just worked up a mule deer today, so that's why I got the grinder out. I'm going to grind up the burger that I've got, and we get to listen to that musical sound of pint jars doing the little tink thing, saying that they're sealing up with cubed mule deer meat in it. So anyway, the reason that I went with this model was because everybody said that the reverse feature on this grinder was a must-have. I have not once used that reverse feature. I mean, I've turned it on to the reverse just to make sure that it worked, but I have not once ever had an issue where I needed to make that motor spin backwards. I'm not too sure why that reverse feature is so important, but I've never used it. Another thing, these cooling packs that are supposed to go around the grinder head, I used them once or twice, and then they were just kind of a big old pain in the butt. So honestly, I've never used that. This is the first time that these things have been out of the box. I don't know, maybe the first year I might have used these. After that, I was like, yeah, there's no reason to at all. The drawer, this thing right here, it comes with a larger, it comes with 2 plates. It comes with the large plate, and it comes with the small plate. I think I used the large plate once or twice, and then after that I realized that it'll feed everything through that small plate right off the bat, so I don't ever even use that. This little doohickey right here, this is what you use to pull the auger out from the body of the grinder. I don't think I honestly usually use that very much either. I think I usually just grab a hold of the end of it with my fingies and pull it out, and away we go. So let's put it together and let's grind this meat. So you've got your grinder body, and you've got your knob here. Pull that back out to where the inside kind of clears there. Put that in there. Now I do wash this. You'll see me pulling it out of the dish rack here. I typically wash it before I put it up for the season, and then I wash it when I take it out. So that goes in like that. That was the auger. Then we've got our knife. Okay, I have not once sharpened this. I'm pretty careful with it. I mean, if it's not in here, you know, I pull it out, I set it to the side of the sink. This thing right here will go in, you know, soapy water so that it soaks up, so that it's easier to, you know, get the meat that's left in there out. But this right here, it goes to the side of the sink. I hand wash it, put it on the little, you know, the backsplash area thing right there, and then rinse it off and then set it off to the side. So I'm pretty careful with those cutting edges. They look like it'd be fairly easy to sharpen these, and you can get extra knives. So if you're not a sharpener and your grinder is not running the way it should, the first thing I would look at would be those knives. Then the plate, it's got a little notch right here. That corresponds to the little doohickey right there. That goes on like that, and then it won't rotate. This thing here goes over the top, kind of holds everything together. Now this, I typically run it on the loose side. So we're going to tighten it up till it stops, right? And then we're going to back it off, kind of wiggle everything, and then give it a little bit of snugging up, and then that's it. Okay, meat tray goes on top. Now, it says that you can lubricate this thing with, you know, like Pam cooking oil or something like that. You know, I don't trim my meat to where there's no fat in it. You know, as far as I'm concerned, venison is a little on the lean side. So, you know, I leave some of the fat that's in there. They're in another one of those jars. What we got here is we got 7 pounds, 14 ounces, according to my scale there, of, you know, sliced mule deer meat ready to get ground up. I toss the whole thing in there. I guess we don't need that anymore. Stainless steel mixing bowl. Now I'm going to have to come over to your side because I only use this one time a year. So, okay, so reverse is towards the body of the grinder and forwards is to the left. It's also got a reset button right here. So in case you, you know, if you didn't clean out the bullet wound or something, you know, and a piece of bullet material got stuck in there, or, you know, from the other video, a lot of comments I get are, will this thing grind bone? I don't know why you would want to grind bone. I suppose maybe if you were making, you know, the natural dog food where you were taking like whole rabbit carcasses or whole duck carcasses or something like that and shoving it in here, I guess I could kind of see that. Fresh bone is typically not all that tough, but like throwing a leg bone from like a deer or something in here, I'm not too sure that I would do that. Now, I don't have a sound meter, okay, so so you're just going to have to kind of go, I mean, I'm talking a little bit loud because I'm shooting a video, but you know, maybe I'll clap my hands a couple of times, you know, while we're grinding this up so that you can see, you know, about how loud it is. It's not the quietest thing on the face of the planet, but I also don't feel like I need to grab earplugs when I run this thing, okay? So, like I said, this is 7 pounds, 14 ounces, and it's all in there. So I'll feed it just as fast as it can take it, and then you can time it and see. I think this thing says it'll do like 10, 12 pounds a minute, something like that, but it is really fast. It takes a lot longer to pull the thing out, get it set, wash it, get it set up, and then tear it down than it does to grind the meat. So here we go. That was 9:34, I think, is the time stamp there. And this thing's got a pretty long throat on it, so honestly, I don't think that my fingies would be able to actually touch the grinder, even if there was no meat in here and I was, you know, trying to reach down in there. It came with a little plastic plunger thing, but honestly, I never even remember to grab a hold of it. And that is it. One grind, 10:49 is what I'm seeing. I typically, oh that's right. That kind of gives you an idea about how loud the thing is, you know, as well as talking over me. I don't think I have anything else really to give you an indication of you know, the noise level. But and I typically let it go an extra minute or so, just to kind of let it push the rest of the, you know, the meat through the auger. Since there's nothing following it, you know, it's empty. And that's about it. So now we can go ahead and pop this off. Throw that in our dirty dishwater. We can go ahead and pop this. Now there'll usually be a little bit of gristle that gets stuck on the face right up in here. So pull that. Now here's where I guess you're supposed to use that fancy tool, but like I said, I just grab a hold of that. That thing pops out of there. That goes directly into the sink. The knife comes off. There'll be, you know, some fat and gristle that kind of gets caught up in little parts of this. You know, I suppose if you were really after every like ½ ounce worth of meat, you could go back through that, but I don't really see the point. This right here, like I said, those edges, unless you're a good sharpener and know how to sharpen it, or you know, want to keep buying it, this does not go into the sink. This goes to the side of the sink, and that way that edge doesn't get dinged up against anything. Then we can just go ahead and grab the auger and pull it out, and see it'll have a little bit of stuff that's honestly mostly fat and gristle. So then that part right there goes into the sink. Loosen up our big holding knob doohickey here. It looks fairly clean on the inside of there. Like I said, there'll be bits and pieces that wasn't able to get pushed all the way through. Okay, so now you guys have seen it work. And that's some pretty good looking burger. You know, just one push through on the fine thing. So now some thoughts of mine. So would I buy this grinder again? Absolutely. Am I glad that I bought this grinder? Absolutely. You know, as much as I mean, I haven't been hunting as much lately. Part of that is lifestyle changes. Part of that is the animals. We had a really hard winter this year, so pretty much anything west of like Laramie, in between Laramie and Evanston, they got a really rough winter, and apparently it was really hard on the deer and antelope population. I guess the elk didn't they didn't do so bad, but the antelope especially, they just got decimated this year. And so my boy and I, you know, we usually get 2 antelope and 2 deer. And this year we decided to give the antelope a break. And then I got a deer a small buck, this one, and then Vince didn't even go. Of course, he's got himself a new girlfriend. She's an awesome girl, and so he was kind of tied up spending all of his free time with her, which, you know, that's about what happens with young men about that age range, especially when they find a good girl, right? So anyway, so we only got one deer this year, and I don't know. You know, I might pick up a pig or a half a cow from from a buddy of mine a little bit later on in the year. And if I do, you know, this thing will work it up. But anyway, so I absolutely love it. Also, in the same token though, this thing is a beast. I mean, you just saw that. I mean, it ripped through almost 8 pounds of burger in a minute, maybe a minute and a half, something like that. One pass, it's ready to go. So it is an industrial strength. I mean, if you were working, I mean, if you were butchering animals in your, in your garage for like a semi-commercial type of deal, I think this thing would do it, and it wouldn't balk at it. I mean, I think, well, I mean, I've been doing that pretty much for 6 years. I mean, I don't hire out, but I mean, I've worked up quite a few animals with this thing. Never once had an issue with it. Always just powers through everything. It's pretty amazing. So in that same line, you might even go with the smaller one. Like I said, this is a 1-horse motor, and it's a pretty beefy thing. I mean, it's like chugging or lugging a 5-gallon bucket of water, back and forth each time when you go to break it out. Like I said, the reason that I went with this model was because everybody said that reverse was a big deal. I found it not to be. The number 22 grinder head, I do like that because those parts are easy to find. Extra grinding blades, extra plates, sausage stuffer attachments, all that kind of stuff. The number 22 grinder has been out for a long time, and so there are a ton of accessories for it, and they're readily available. I mean, you can go to Jack's, Cabela's, Bass Pro, pretty much any place that carries grinders is going to have parts for a number 22 grinder head. Yeah, I mean, I cannot, from my hunting career, even back when I was going through an elk, a couple of deer, a couple antelope, and then, plus bartering with rancher buddies for extra animals, I cannot imagine needing more grinder than this unless you were a commercial butcher type. So yeah, so like I said, this 1-horse model, or I'm sure that 3/4 horse model would probably do, the average hunter just fine. They're a pretty beast of a machine, and as far as I'm concerned, well worth every penny. And like I said, today's models are going, I think this is like a $550 grinder. So while it's not an ungodly amount of money, I mean, that's still a pretty good chunk of change. But, you figure that's, I mean, I've been using it for 6 years. I'll probably use it for at least another 20 or 30. And $550, divided upon that many years worth of a hunting career, comes out pretty cheap in the end. So again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery, and visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got one of these and you got comments on it, drop it down below. If you've ever ground bones with it, let me know how that worked out for you, because I'm not interested in grinding bones with something like this, but it seems like a lot of folks are. If you ever had any problems with it, I've never had any problems with mine, but somebody out there probably has. So again, Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery, and visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.